Hey, shalom, shalom. I'm going to start off by giving all praise to Yahweh, Shem Yahushua, Shem HaKakodash, double honors to the apostles of GMS, and honors to brothers doing the work in truth, while sincerity. This is going to be a quick one on on an observation that I made. Right, brothers have been going in doing response videos, starting from the apostles on down, on the stupid statement that this clown vocab, no class, hoe ass Malone, whatever, remix you want to put for his name, right? And basically one of the things that that I noticed from all the response videos was when clips of vocab was brought out, he was doing all this funny talk, man, and he was saying, he break, blah, 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 which obviously we know what that means, right? But it's one of those terms where it's just like, you could have just said, I've never heard, the apostles frame something in such an, you know what I mean? Not saying that they haven't, but more time, when you're teaching, right, you gotta teach to the lowest common denominator. And look at Jake. Jake is the lowest common denominator, man. Right, when you start hearing terms that you've not heard out the ordinary, that's something that that's something that is just a way to easily lose people, right? And he's speaking all quick. He's all trying to, as if he's trying to bamboozle you, right? I don't know if that's an actual word or whether that's an English colloquialism, but basically confuse you, right? Just 1 Corinthians 2 says, "And I, brethren, when I came to you, came not with excellency of speech or of wisdom, declaring unto you the testimony of the Most High." Right? So this is Paul, and he's saying, I came not with excellency of speech, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a thing about, it's about the word, not how smart you look. Right? You get, things like sciences and technology. Majority of the people, because that's the field I'm in, and one thing that I've noticed is that if what do you call it, as soon as I would start speaking, as despite me trying my best sometimes to not make it complicated, as soon as people hear complicated words, it just fades out, right? So that's why people think vocab is saying good things, because he's just saying big words, right? But that's not what it's about. It's about edifying, right? It says, I'm going to get this. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and 5. It says, "I would that you will speak with tongues, but rather that you prophesied. For greater is he that prophesieth than he that speaketh with tongues, except he interpret, that the church may receive edifying." Right? No, I know that talking about speaking in different languages, right? But when you're using some of these big words, you might as well be speaking in a different language, right? You got to interpret what it is that you're saying. If you use a term that people don't really know, right, either tell them to look it up or explain it to them, right? If it's like a sit down or whatever, you hear the apostle say, "Look it up, man," whatever, what have you, right? But if you're explaining to someone, you got to explain to them what these words mean. Like, you might read a contract, for instance. They even have a term for it, right? To basically prove that they have a term for it. They call it legalese, right? It's written in English, right? But it's legalese because it's only really people in the legal profession that know how to understand and interpret that, right? But is it still English? Yes, right? Just like how you could explain the scriptures with all these fanciful languages such as vocab will do, but at the end of the day, that's not what matters. What matters is what the scriptures say, and the truth therein. And hey, what did Yahweh say? Oh fuck, this was on the tip of my tongue. It basically speaks on the fact that this is easy. The simplicity in Yahweh, that's it. Right, this thing is simple, right? But these guys want to make it difficult. They want to confuse the people. They want to make it about them. Oh, look how excellent an orator am I. Right, I forgot whether I finished the point from before, but the son of a good teacher, someone who can take something so complicated and simplify it. right? Like I said, you get tech and sciences where you're trying to, the best people and people that truly understand what it is they're talking about are the ones that can, for example, explain quantum physics, or quantum computing, or specific heat latency. Right, these are just terms I remember from physics that don't ask me what they mean, right? But those terms are terms that are difficult to grasp, difficult to understand, but a good teacher is able to break them down. Just like these scriptures, you might have something that it seems a bit hard, but a good teacher is someone that says, hey, okay, cool, first things first, stop. Right? This is what it is, calm down, it's not that deep, well, whatever, what have you. And then the student goes, oh shit, yeah, no, it makes sense. And ultimately, the thing about the scriptures is your eyes has to be open. But what vocab does, that's the sign of like I said, that's the sign of a con man, right? That's what them Afrocentric niggas do, right? This is 1 Corinthians 14:26, same chapter. It says, how is it then, brethren, when ye come together, everyone hath a psalm, everyone hath a doctrine, hath a tongue, hath a revelation, hath an interpretation. Let all things be done unto edifying. Right? So, you doing a video, whatever, what have you, you're gonna make sure it's edifying, man. Because that's the aim of the game. The aim of the game is to edify. Right? This ain't about you. Romans 3, what is that? Romans 12:3. Right? Let no man, think of himself more greatly than he ought to think. Right? You're just a man, and you're just a vessel, and you're just a puppet of the Most High. Right? Scriptures say in Romans 3:23, all have sinned and come short of the glory. Scriptures also say our righteousness is as filthy rags. Right? So this ain't about you. And that's a generic everyone out there, myself included. It ain't about us. It's about the Most High. It's about Yahweh Shai, right? And that's why you gotta let the scriptures speak, because in that, you cut myself. Right? It says Sirach 13:23 says, when a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue. Right? And look what he said. They extol it to the clouds. Right? And part of that is, you got the whole look about your suit. You're tied up. You got the pencil tie. Right? And you sound eloquent, and people are like, oh shit, what's he saying? What's he got to say? Blah 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 blah. Why? Because you look the part and you sound the part. But if the poor man speak, for example, if you like, get in it, because when the scriptures say this in it, or whatever, what have you, if you say that, hey, this is literally what they'll do. Says, but if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? Yeah, they're looking at, oh man, can't even speak, like he can't even speak properly or whatever, what have you. Right? It says, and if he stumble or help to overthrow, right? For example, they might start mocking the way you talk, whatever, what have you. Right? But at the end of the day, is the message being conveyed? Can the lowest common denominator understand what it is that you're saying? And in that, once again, cut myself, lowest common denominator, right? That's basically, let's say you've got a couple of people, right? And 4 of them are smart and 1 of them is stupid, right? And 1 of them is let's say, from a medical term, retarded. There's no point. Basically, the lowest common denominator would be the retarded person, right? So but yeah, it was just a quick one. I don't believe I have any more precepts. And yeah, so to the next time, I say shalom.